DuPont innovation lowers LCOE by increasing cell efficiencies and system lifetime while reducing total system cost. Materials matter.
That is, for me, the show of industry.
Hello and welcome to the PV Tech Newscast. The headlines this week: China now have a target of 35 gigawatts of solar by 2015, Rene Solar raises wafer and module shipment guidance for Q2, and the Netherlands could install 2 million residential PV systems by 2023. A target of 35 gigawatts of installed capacity for solar power generation by 2015 has been set in China. A statement issued by the Chinese State Council, backed up by targets recently announced by the State Grid, said 10 gigawatts would be added each year until 2015. This is a four-fold increase from the 8 gigawatts of capacity installed as of the end of 2012 and 14 gigawatts higher than a previously stated 2015 target of 21 gigawatts. The revised target is an attempt to combat changes in the market, including a glut of domestically produced PV equipment in China. In related news, China leapfrogged Germany in June to become the first country in the world to install 3 gigawatts of utility-scale solar power, according to the latest data from Wikisolar. Figures from online project tracker Wikisolar show that global utility solar added 3.75 gigawatts in the first half of 2013, with China alone contributing more than a gigawatt. The top 15 nations added 128 new sites, but European countries contributed just 14 of those. The recent slowdown in Europe has been more than offset not just by China, but also the US, which added even more capacity than China with 1.36 gigawatts. Yet a dire analysis of China's domestic polysilicon producers by the China Non-Ferrous Metals Industry Association bemoans that only 6 companies were producing polysilicon in the country in the first half of 2013. The report cites a catalogue of woes for the sector that include the slowing down in demand downstream for PV products due to the anti-dumping duties in the EU and global overcapacity for polysilicon that keeps the domestic spot market prices below production costs for all domestic producers. In particular, the report claims that foreign producers were continuing to dump polysilicon on the domestic market, exacerbating the overcapacity situation. The report also claims that in the first half of 2013, domestic polysilicon production was 28,000 tonnes by just 6 producers, while around 43 producers' plants remained closed. China's entire domestic polysilicon capacity utilization rates were said to be less than 30%. With second quarter financial results season just around the corner, Chinese Tier 1 PV manufacturer Rene Solar has significantly revised its sales and shipment guidance upwards for the second quarter of 2013, one of the first to make positive revisions. The company said that it expected total solar wafer and module shipments to be in the range of 760 to 770 megawatts, compared to its previously guided range of between 700 to 720 megawatts. As a consequence, revenue is expected to be in the range of 365 to 375 million US dollars, up from 330 million. The deployment of PV diesel hybrid systems in developing countries is being held back by poorly planned management and inadequate service regimes, a study claims. The report by the Photovoltaic Power Systems Programme of the International Energy Agency said that although off-grid PV diesel hybrid systems had the potential to make a significant contribution to rural electrification, their take-up is being hampered by a range of capacity-related factors. As a basic minimum, the report said, a project should generate sufficient cash flow to cover operation and maintenance costs. Because it is sometimes difficult and costly to retain skilled personnel in a remote village, an operator could work on a bundle of hybrid systems in a given area to reduce O&M costs, the report said. The report also pointed out that private investors are still reluctant to invest in rural electrification projects due to the perceived risks of doing business in such areas. The Spanish government has announced a series of cuts to renewable energy subsidies totaling 3.5 billion US dollars as part of a widespread reform to its energy policy. Solar energy producers, already hit hard by previous rounds of tariff cuts, were expected to be further damaged by the latest reforms. The country currently has a deficit of 33 billion US dollars as a result of regulated electricity prices failing to catch up with rising costs of energy. This year's deficit alone is estimated at around $5.9 billion. And finally, the Netherlands is negotiating a new energy policy, the Nationaal Energie Akkoord, that could see up to 2 million household PV systems installed by 2023. The negotiations are being facilitated by the Social and Economic Council of the Netherlands, the SER, a body which advises the Dutch government on economic and social policy and is pushing for a fully sustainable energy in the Netherlands by 2050. So far, the government has set a short-term goal of 14% of energy production to be generated using renewable energy by 2020. SER has been pushing the government to agree to 16% by 2023. Rene Solar, the National Solar Trade Association in Holland, supports the National Energy Agreement and the creation of 15,000 new jobs in the renewable energy sector. And that's all for this week. Make sure you tune in next Friday, and in the meantime you can keep up to date with all the very latest PV news via our website and our Twitter feed. Thanks for watching.